Hey guys, this is Anastasia, and this video is going to be for the YouTube Pagan Challenge, which I know I am incredibly behind. But seeing as Samhain is right around the corner, I need to get to it and try to get caught up on this sucker, because throughout the year, and maybe this is true of others as well, but for me, I will put forth, I'm going to study this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do a series of videos on this and that and the other thing, and sometimes I'll bite off more than I can chew. Very true of myself. Sometimes I will think, oh, this would be a great series to do and share my findings, but then when I start doing the dedication, I realize pretty much all my findings are just for me to know, and I really don't, I actually feel called to keep it to my darn self. So I can't really share it. Sometimes I'll do something for a goddess like Hecate, and then find out she was only in my life for a short period of time, at least as of right now. You never know when they'll come back around and be like, hey, checking up on ya. You never know. But anyway, for one reason or another, certain dedications will kind of get left on the back burner, and around Samhain I start to get very analytical of those. And okay, was this a dedication? Was this something that was left on the back burner for a valid reason? Is this something that I genuinely needed time away from and now I can reapproach it? Or is this something where I shouldn't have even started it? Because Kernunos knows I have done that many a time. But there are a lot of those, I think, that I look back on and go, no, you shouldn't have stopped. You should have made the time. I didn't prioritize. I didn't do this, that, and the other thing. And as a human, it's going to happen. There are going to be times when we bite off more than we can chew and we let things go. And I don't think letting something go, putting it on that proverbial back burner, is necessarily a bad thing. If we're feeling pressed for time, we're not going to give something the right kind of dedication, I think, that it is owed. If I don't have time or the energy to craft, I won't. If I don't, unless it's like an order that is due by such and such a time, and even then, I try to plan for that. But I think when we know we're not feeling something, it's better to leave it be, I guess, than to force something. But something like the YouTube Pagan Challenge, it really isn't that kind of energy. You're sharing your own thoughts, and it's not even necessarily thoughts that you need to have 5 minutes from now. It's just in this moment while I take this video, what are my thoughts on such and such a thing? I had time for that. I let it go because I chose to let it go. And that is not something that Kernunos or Hell or any other spirit, ancestor, elemental, fae, what have you, none of them are going to have that. So I've got to get caught up to Samhain by Samhain. So you will probably see a flood of YouTube Pagan videos. And I've said that a time or two before. But Samhain kind of puts that timer on you. You know, it at least for me, I feel this. Lunasa tends to be the Sabbath that all of a sudden I get the bee in my bonnet on. I have to do this and I have to do this, and I start all these new things. And then Samhain comes around the corner and it's, holy crap, I procrastinated. I need to hurry up and finish all these things. It's that night before a big exam and you have to cram and study, and oh yeah, and you have 3 reports due too. It is that wonderful, wonderful thing. So anyway, long story short, I need to get caught up with the YouTube Pagan Challenge very soon, because I need to have it caught up by Samhain. It is something that I've thought about. It is something that I've had hitting me in the back of the head, and I need to follow through. So, without further ado, this video is for pagan music. I will warn you, this will probably get broken up into 2 videos. I'm probably going to do one just on my personal thoughts and belief structures on music in practice, because it is such a part of me. It is such a part of my path. It is such a part of how I connect. And as much as I've gone through this video and thought, how am I going to do this? What am I going to talk about? I can't keep it just to pagan music specifically, because without delving into a bit more of a broader spectrum. And I do apologize because some of it may be regurgitation from pagan artwork, but every time I've tried to sit down and do this video and keep it clear and concise and under, X amount of time, I feel like I feel like I'm not doing something right. I stop myself and realize that's not what it is. That's not what it is. I need to go into more detail. I need to make this a bit more of a broader spectrum and then condense. So I'm just listening to that and I'm going with it. So my videos are normally pretty darn rambly. I'm sorry. But this one especially will probably be a bit long-winded. So I'm putting it out there. Sorry preemptively. But it's important for me to get out these things even if it is a bit of regurgitation. So with that said, first off, as I kind of alluded to, and I believe I spoke to this with the pagan artist video, music especially, but I think art in a very broad term connects us to our spiritual selves for the most part, for most people. Normally in my videos, I will not speak for anyone else except myself. This is something I feel pretty good and pretty okay with making it a bit more broad and saying I think most people have a connection to music. And it's not even necessarily in paganism. I think Christians have that tie, Jewish, Muslim, different sects of paganism. We all, when it comes to music, music is ingrained in our ritual work for the most part. And again, that's not just paganism, because you have, although Buddhist is kind of a branch of paganism, it is, you have those chants. In Christianity, you have the hymns. I apologize, I don't really know Muslim or Jewish faith that well, Judaism that well. I don't. I'm sure it's in there. I really hope that doesn't make light. I'm not trying to make light of anyone else's beliefs. That felt kind of icky, that little side comment. But it's true. If I don't know about something, I try not to talk about it because I'll realize very quickly I'm ignorant. But I can say definitely at least Christianity. When I was a practicing Christian, that was really the only time I felt connected. That and when I was doing Bible study about the good girls and bad girls of the Bible. Hello, goddess. Trying to talk to me, are ya? Anyway, but otherwise music. That was really where I connected. And you can feel the energy. I mean, definitely music, it helps you connect to other energies. And I think, again, I think that's very true of art. In a very broad sense, we have certain authors, certain poets that we look at and we're touched by them. Emily Dickinson, for me, is a very powerful poet, and her work just makes me feel in ways that I don't normally connect. And I know that is because it's connecting to something a bit more ancient, a bit more primal. Artwork, very much the same. You look at certain painters, you look at sculptures, you look at photographs even. People even on Facebook, the nature photographs that people post are just insanely beautiful. Even memes, which I know is ridiculous, but certain memes you look at and you just go, that speaks to me, that resonates. When we hear something from another person that resonates, or we read something about our spiritual paths that resonate, we find ways to adapt it to our structure sometimes, because it does resonate with us. It does have a place within us. And I think that's very true of art in and of itself, is when we see a painting that is just so incredibly beautiful and intrinsic, and you can't put your finger on why. I think it very much mirrors the mysteries, where everyone has their experience, everyone has their way, and we both can look at the same experience and have two very different takes on it. I can look at one painting and someone else can come up behind me and look at the same painting and see and feel something very different. And I think that's why art, and specifically music, lends itself to that, because there's no way you hear... Sorry, my brain is flooding. When people write songs, they have one thought in mind, and then one person hears it, and that person may take something away from the song that's completely and utterly different than what the songwriter intended. And then their friend listens to the song, and their friend takes on something completely and totally different. Even... I don't play musical instruments. I really don't have the talent for that. I'd love to, but I don't. But I do sing. And so when I listen to a song for certain reasons, certain ways. And Ray, who's a guitarist, will listen to the same song, and he'll go, I don't really listen to the lyrics, I don't really listen to the singing, it's about the riffs. Like, did you hear this one? Did you hear that? No, of course I didn't hear this, that, and the other thing. I'm listening to the lyrics, which are haunting and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. That's not to say I don't appreciate instrumental work. Pantera, even though it's mainstream, Pantera, Cemetery Gates, Dimebag Darrell, and his guitar playing on that brings me to tears. My Guitar Gently Weeps, especially the Hall of Fame inductee performance with Tom Petty and Prince playing guitar. When Prince goes on to the solo, I'm undone every time. And that is why I think it connects to us spiritually, because we have these emotional reactions to it. We have these visceral, at times, reactions to music. And that's true of mainstream, it's true of pagan, it's true of instrumental, it's true of anything. Any music we are going to have an opinion on. We're going to have a reaction on. I don't know of any music that I just kind of go, it is what it is. And if it is, then it totally is not for me. But I have strong opinions on even genres of music. I love this, that, and the other thing. But if you put, I don't want to offend anyone, so you put up one of my least favorite genres of music, I definitely have an opinion, even though it's not favorable. And I think that's very true of our paganistic beliefs as well. And I'm sure of our religious beliefs as well, in any religion. Things that resonate with us, we become passionate about, we become incensed about. It is something that we hold with us. I think that's why there can be drama when it comes to religion, because religion and faith and spirituality is so ingrained within us. And if we really look at it, even if you're not a musician or a singer or trained or what have you, music speaks to us on a level that is so personal. It is so vulnerable. It is so intrinsic that if someone questions it or criticizes it, and it is something that we care for and that resonates with us on a spiritual level, that's not good. Art, I think, has the ability to awaken us even when we don't realize it. So music especially, but art, I think generally in the broader sense, is a very spiritual medium and is something that is very important in our human experience. And I'm going to leave that there and pick up with the next video, which will focus specifically on pagan music. Thanks, guys.